Hi, my name is Jim Milley, and I'm the Executive Director of Bridges.
And my name is Beth Turan. I'm the Program Director for Bridges. And we want to welcome you to the Bridges annual event, Unexpected Hope.
And
tonight we're hoping that you leave with more hope. More hope in God, more hope for our communities, and more hope for the future.
And tonight, I want to introduce you to a friend of Bridges. Our MC for tonight is the head of staff, the pastor from Geneva Presbyterian Church in Laguna Woods. And Steve, thank you. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
It's great to be here. So glad to be with you. I mean, what a great way to spend an hour this afternoon with all of you and to help plant seeds for unexpected hope in so many people. I think all of you would agree with me that we could use more hope. This year has been tough. A pandemic, civil unrest, and political upheavals at home and abroad, dangerous weather, craziness, yet your Bridges is well and strong in 2021 and continues to empower leaders. Our Bridge leaders. Today, you're going to hear some of their stories, and they're amazing stories. They're exciting stories. They're good stories. They're stories filled with hope. A girl found after being lost to human trafficking in Walter Krateris' ministry. Sam and his refugee program, and a teen, Olivia, removed from a foster care system, and how she finds not only hope, but her gifting through the ministry of one of our Bridge leaders. So what you've heard tonight, an amazing theme for our annual event, is that we're about unexpected hope. And you're going to hear that story told loud and clear tonight. We're going to be doing a lot of fun ways to support Bridges. You're going to be hearing great stories. We're going to play a few games. That's one of the reasons why I said yes to Jim. I love playing games. Another fun thing that we're doing this evening is spinning the wheel of names. Everyone is playing because you received a chance to win when you registered tonight for $25. And right now, you can buy more chances to win for $25 each. Each $25 puts another of your name on the wheel. So the more you give, the more your name shows up on the wheel. And your name, all those times on the wheel, will stay up there for all 5 spins. And you can see the things you can win, including the latest iPad and an all-inclusive vacation trip to Mexico. We will spin the wheel once tonight, and 1 week from now, 1 week from today, we'll spin it 5 more times, and your name will be up there all the times. Great prizes. This will give everyone another week, that's right, to buy more tickets. 1 spin tonight, 5 more a week from today. Hey, what is that?
Steve, this is my new horn.
Dude, you are so talented. We knew that already.
Steve, I had this bike accident, and I had a physical therapist come to my house. And I told him about Bridges, and he was so excited. He wanted to provide something for our silent auction. And he goes up into the hills around Pasadena and takes yucca plants, and he harvests them, and he makes these horns.
It's amazing.
They've got a name I can't pronounce.
Is that one of the prizes tonight?
This is no. This is in our silent auction.
That's right. I'm going to
you can
talk
go
about
to
that
the
in a
auction
minute. Yeah.
and get this. And I found this works great for waking up the kids in the morning.
It does.
And for the kids, it works great for waking up dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
every home should have one.
Every home should have one.
Right.
But Steve, the silent auction has begun.
All right.
And anybody can go and enjoy and do it right now.
That's right. So remember that the silent auction, thanks Jim, online auction is going on right now. You can visit this URL you're seeing on the screen and the internet and grab some great deals. Register first though. Register first, then start bidding. Just look on the screen for the URL. And tonight, we want you to deeply feel the reasons that all of us support Bridges. And one of those reasons is because God is providing unexpected hope to those who need it most. We want you to experience the hope found in the story of Olivia. Let's discover how a teen can find hope after a social worker removed her from an extremely difficult home situation. Watch this clip.
My name is Olivia Odiosteki. I started working for Bridges when I was 15 years old. Well, Bridges means a lot to me because I wasn't that close with God until I started working for Bridges. My childhood was pretty hard. My parents got divorced when I was 2. My mom would make up things about my dad, like, oh, he's a bad person, he doesn't want to see you, he never wants to talk to you. I feel like she had a lot of anger and resentment. She would throw things, she would pull my hair, she would hit me. But one day we got into a really big argument, and for some reason, she blamed it on the guinea pig. She grabbed the cage, she threw it, and snapped her head. But from that day, I really turned cold. I walked out the door and it was 11 p.m. at night. I walked from LA County to Ventura County. I wasn't really fearful of anything. I was just walking because I was so upset.
Olivia had not shown up for work in over a month. And the time came where I felt like I needed to write her an email that said, this job is no longer your job. But God tapped me on the shoulder and said, don't write that email. 2 days later, I get a call from a social worker asking me if I want to talk to Olivia.
I didn't have a phone, I didn't have a computer. My only form of contact was somehow asking my case manager. She got me Jim's information. I contacted him and I told him everything that had happened.
The way I know God was in this is that we had to figure out, and I had to figure out, what could Olivia possibly do when she doesn't live next door to the office anymore. She's far away in a distant city. That weekend, Mike Verman with Hope IT, one of our bridge leaders, is giving a class where Olivia could sign up and learn how to do WordPress.
Every Saturday with Mike Verman, we would have classes. He taught me a lot about WordPress. He taught me how to use websites. He liked my progress, so he asked me if I could co-teach a WordPress class with him for kids who are also going through similar situations as me.
Hope IT dreams where even a kid can gain so many skills and be so confident that they could teach other kids. And that is actually what's happening with Olivia. Olivia is remarkable. She has co-taught with me a WordPress class, and now she's teaching her own class to 15 Liberian students. We thank God for Olivia.
It made me think about, my life and take a second look. There are people all over the world who are going through horrible situations and, life. It just really inspires me to constantly help people, and I love doing it. Bridges has given me a lot of opportunities because of Jim and Mike and their patience with me and teaching me a lot, always keeping in contact with me, asking me how I'm doing from time to time. I'm just really happy that I have such great adults to help guide me through this really difficult part of my life, especially right now since I'm trying to get into a university by next year.
Hi, Mike. It is a real pleasure to personally meet you, and so glad you're here tonight. And Mike, you're with Hope IT. You're one of our bridge leaders. Could you tell me how Olivia's story that we've all just watched impacted you, your life, and what you're doing? Thanks for sharing.
As I mentioned in the video, Hope IT partners with many, many other groups. Hope IT looks for underserved kids that don't get opportunities, not just getting computer skills, but also teaching these computer skills to other kids. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible, but Olivia showed us that it is possible. So Olivia actually showing Hope IT hope.
Wow, that's an incredible story. I mean, I was inspired when I saw Olivia's video earlier this week. And to watch it again and to hear your story and what you said about how her life was engaged by Unexpected Hope, and now she's helped Hope IT begin to see how the work is going on in, is it Liberia?
Liberia, Africa.
Yeah, and now she's training students here.
We just finished that class yesterday.
That is so great. Well, Mike, it's great having you here. And this, what you just heard Mike talk about, and what you saw with Olivia on the video, it doesn't happen without your support. And it doesn't happen without our many sponsors. Mike, thanks for joining us. It's good to meet you. Glad you're a Bridge leader.
So I want to introduce Bridge leader Sam Notnieris. So Sam, I'm excited that you're a Bridge leader. You're up there in Fremont, California. And the things that we have been seeing in Afghanistan have been disturbing. And yet through Bridges, you have experienced some unexpected hope with regards to this. And so we wanted to interview you and ask some questions. And first, Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Sam Not Near Us. So you'll hold a skunk out away from your face saying not near us. And that's actually my name. My father was an immigrant and from Holland. And so I have a heart for the immigrant story. And I'm also a 13th generation pastor, and that's not my fault. So God just put me in ministry, and we love reaching the nations. So I've been married 27 years and have a little girl who's 10 years old. And I also started at my church this year during COVID. We bought our house on FaceTime, and I preached my first sermon to the church on Zoom. So it's been quite a year.
Wow. And Sam, I want to ask you, who has God called you to love and serve?
Well, about 2 years before I came to this church, I was in a Presbytery meeting, and they said, hey, we're going to adopt this group of people called the Pashtuns. And the Lord whispered in my ear, you're going to be part of that. And I was like, what? So I went home and told my wife, I said, it's like the Lord whispered in my ear, said, you're going to be part of reaching this people group. Never heard of them, don't know anything about them. And so we said, okay, let's pray. Well, a few months later, this church asks me to send a resume. And what do they have in town? They have Little Kabul right here in town. And we have one of the largest concentrations of Afghans, and of which Pashtun is a part. So there's about 60,000 Bay Area Afghans, and about in general, about 0.1% of all Afghans are believers in Jesus Christ. It's 99.9% Muslim. So that's part of what God called me to do up here.
Okay. And what is happening right now? Tell us what's going on.
So I'm going to just backtrack just a moment to the first Sunday in May when I got in front of the congregation. I said, imagine a day when more people are coming to church, but we don't have to make more parking because they're walking here with their children. And there's those baby buggies outside. Well, the next day I'm prayer walking in my neighborhood and I'm talking to the Lord, and God prompts me to call my friend Mike, who's a Muslim church planter. His wife gets on the phone and says, hey, if your church happened to host an English second language class, do you know what? I think the moms would walk to your church with their children. And I was just shocked. I'm thinking, oh man, Lord, that was quick. Just yesterday we talked about that and you're already putting it together. So this fall, before everything fell apart in Afghanistan, we had already put in motion, God had put in motion English classes for our Afghan neighbors who actually live in the apartments to the left and to the right of the church. So God has some exciting things happening. And we're also thinking on the bigger picture of what we do for all the refugees that are coming to our country now.
Now, Sam, let me highlight that. Did I hear you right? You had felt that God was saying, love the Pashtun people, love these people from Afghanistan. I want you to serve at a church in Fremont, California that has a long history of ministry among Afghani people. And earlier this year, before the whole news broke about pulling out of Afghanistan, you've already planned an English as a second language course at your church. Is that right?
That's exactly what I love, because I couldn't have planned that. God planned this whole thing, and I'm just trying to keep up with Jesus every day.
Wow, that's amazing. That is truly, we just thank God for that. So much of what, tell me, so much is happening Now, how does Bridges connect all this? What is it about Bridges that makes you want to connect with Bridges?
Well, I would say, when I didn't know what was wrong. In the first quarter of my year here, I started throwing up once a week, then twice a week, then 3 times a week. I didn't know what was going on inside my body. And I remember the night, Jim, I called you and I was like, Jim, I don't know if it's spiritual warfare or something's going on in my body, but I'm ready to go to the hospital. Something's really wrong. Please pray for me. And then that night, that next day, I ended up having part of my body removed, emergency. So just having, I think, the prayer partner in you, Jim, and then also the coaching with a church planter who's really helped me think through how do we go into communities and contextualize. My coach is a missionary church planter, and he's really challenged my thinking and given me some great resources that I can not only think biblically, but also contextually, like a missionary, thinking, how do we make a difference and think strategically about how to reach this new community of which I have very little experience, but God has called me to.
Okay. And Sam, one last question. How can we be involved? How can we be of service?
Well, I have put into the chat, you can scroll toward the top and you can see a PDF called Praying for Afghans. And if you click on that, you can download it. And it's a little guide on how to pray for Afghans. And then also the thing is tens of thousands, about 125,000 Afghans are all over the country on military bases, waiting to be sponsored, waiting to settle in communities, and they may be coming to a community near you. And so I have a second PDF that you can click on in the chat, and it's called Serving Afghan Refugees. It's a great cultural learning piece of how you can learn how to relate, how not to relate, and the actual things that these Afghan refugees may need. And then I would say, thirdly, everything that you donate toward the Bridges Ministry, I am sending off to refugee relief for the families that we'll be serving. So it's anything from a bag of rice to a sponsorship application for the State Department or a month's rent in the Tri-City area. So those 3 things are a great way to get involved.
And Sam, I want to encourage everybody, when you buy your opportunity tickets for the Opportunity Wheel Spin, click on the drop-down box and you can choose any one of our bridge leaders for your funds to help. And if you want your funds to help the refugees from Afghanistan, pick the Ministry of Sam Not Near Us and your funds will go there. So that's a great way. You can buy 30 tickets and send all those funds directly to help Afghan refugees. Sam, thank you. You're doing outstanding work. We really appreciate you. It's just amazing how you were doing this before the whole country thought about it, and there you are, ready to serve those in need. We thank God for that. God bless you, and we'll keep praying for you.
It's a great way to be surprised by hope. I'm really living that reality. So thanks, Jim.
All right. Take care.
Wow, Sam Not Near Us, what a great guy. I loved hearing his story, and thank you for your work. We're glad to be involved with you and all the unexpected hope. Bridge leader, killer contractor, and blue-eyed butcher. What do these movies have in common? Bridge leader, Emilio Martinez. By day, Emilio works for a production company making movies for the Lifetime Network. By night, he leads a unique bridging ministry. Let's see what Emilio is up to today.
Thanks for joining us, Emilio. And Emilio, where are you right now?
Right now, we are in the heart of Montrose, California, at a place called My Studio. But Sunday Night Studio, the ministry that I run through Bridges, has rented space here to have our some events and some rehearsals. And tonight we're actually doing a soft launch warm up for getting our regular Sunday night meetings going again. So.
Fantastic, fantastic. So yeah, tell us about just tell us a little bit about your ministry in general.
Well, as you can see, I got a whole bunch of actors. They got scripts, they're writing. It's a Christian ministry, and we're just really taking our discipleship as Christians both into Hollywood, but also letting God work through Hollywood to help us with our faith. So,
amen. And I understand, you shared with us last year about how you had 3 different attempts at coming to Los Angeles and being here, and how you've created this ministry. And now there's been some fruit. There's been kind of a new thing that's come out of your ministry. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Right. Well, right now, Godwin Entertainment Ministries has been kind of like, this is Tim Glover,
Hi, guys.
Godwin Glover. And he's a producer here in town, and he connected with Sunday Night Studio, and he had a similar ministry back in Australia, and he said he's using Sunday Night Studio to launch his ministry called Godwin Entertainment Ministries.
All right. Yeah, so because you're here, now Tim has come and he's joined and found some value in what you're doing. And so let's launch the reel that shows us a little bit about what Tim's done in the past, I believe.
Mind blown.
A really big duffel bag?
It's a time machine. I go to the past every weekend, sometimes on Tuesdays.
This is so stupid. It's real?
Yeah, I don't know why you're breathing so heavy. It's not like we ran to the past.
So Tim, thanks for joining us, and tell us about that clip right there. What does that represent?
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, well, that's just some work that I've done. I came to the US 6 years ago and had the opportunity to work at 20th Century Fox, amongst other studios. And that's just a sample of some of the work that I've done in the television space.
Right, so you've worked in Hollywood for a while, and you've done some very successful things. What is it that drew you to Bridges?
Well, me and my wife believe that we were always called by God to Hollywood. And so, but you know what, when you come by yourself, you're not supported by a church, there's no infrastructure. And so it can be very lonely as a missionary in Hollywood. And so Bridges has been a godsend for me and my wife, to have somewhere to connect in, someone that, an organization that will support us in our mission in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. Amen. And tell us what you're working on now and what you're hoping for the future.
Well, I recently started my own company called Godwin Pictures, and we are producing a slate of television shows ranging from scripted comedy to reality. And I'm even doing a show with Emilio that's an unscripted comedy, live comedy, sort of SNL style show. And so we've been doing that. But, as well as that, we've been able to launch Godwin Pictures Entertainment Ministries, which is reaching out, and it's a real mission part of our business. But it's reaching out to artists of faith in Hollywood, raising them up, giving them opportunities. And it's just an awesome opportunity to see be a part of what God's doing here in Hollywood.
All right. Well, Emilio, Tim, thank you for putting your faith into action. Thank you for seeking to serve in a difficult place. And you show us unexpected hope that, God's at work. So thank you very much. God bless you, and we'll be praying for you.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Have a great evening. Have a great evening, and greetings to everyone in the group.
Yeah. Say hi, everybody. Say bye, Jim.
All right. Take care.
Hey, it's time to spin the wheel of names. Woo! spin the wheel of names. For every $25 you spend, your name is on the wheel. You've heard me say that. This is an opportunity for more unexpected hope. It will stay on the wheel for every spin so that you always have a chance to win. When you make your purchase, you can choose which Bridge Leader ministry to benefit. So listen carefully to each leader as they share their story today. So this is way cool, way exciting. You heard some great stories. You can support some of those ministries specifically. At the same time, we want you to keep buying opportunity tickets because we're going to spin to find the winners a week from today. So there'll be one spin tonight, which I'm about ready to do, and then there'll be 5 more a week from today. At the same time, we want to spin the wheel once now while we are all together. What do you say? We're going to do it now so we can see the wheel in action. Are you ready? Here we go. And this is for Bose headsets. Wow, it's spinning. It's coming to a stop. And the winner is Charles Gibney. Let's give it up for Charles. Now, the prize, Charles, will be shipped directly to your home in 3 to 5 days. Congratulations, Charles. There are 5 more chances to win, so keep buying your opportunity chances. And now, I want to continue with, we're going to be dealing with
Walter.
Walter. So with us today.
Yes.
Right here, right, Jim?
Here, in the studio.
In the studio. With us right now is the Reverend Walter Contreras. Come on up here, Walter. Yeah. Walter's been a Bridge leader for the past several years. For the past several decades, you have been a leader in the Hispanic community in the areas of immigration, advocacy, church planning, and family ministry. You're a busy guy. And you've made some significant inroads in your political advocacy on behalf of immigrants, and you've been asked to testify before significant groups. And I want to, and Bridges wants to thank you for your faithfulness to a very important causes. And this is so important. You've been involved with multiple organizations and denominations over the years and have had a significant impact. What drew you to be involved? What drew you to be involved with Bridges?
Well, for me, Bridges became that matching ministry where really the vision is to find natural pathways to connect with new people to bring them closer to the Lord.
Wow, that's amazing. And I want to thank you. You know, my wife, Janet, she's part of the Evangelical Covenant Church. And when she married a Presbyterian, it just caused all kinds of problems, in that Swedish denomination, which is now very diverse. And I want to thank you for the work you did with that denomination. Is it true?
Correct.
That you've helped them understand diversity and to be welcoming and to create staff? So well done. Do you want to say anything more about that?
No, it's been a great thing to work with denominations which pretty much want to really be more diverse and more multicultural and really understand community, especially those communities which are changing right in front of our eyes. I mean, California is a true example of how diverse we have become, the 5th largest economy in the world. I mean, we can become a country of our own. So we must change in order so that we can see people changing too.
Yeah, that unexpected hope that you gave to the Covenant denomination, and when Jen and I worship, she's out of the First Covenant Church in Oakland. It is the most diverse staff I've seen on church. The congregation is multi-ethnic. It is one family. And that's, I think, how God intended it. Now, I understand something significant, some situation occurred this year. And maybe you can tell us about that and how you responded to it.
Well, part of my life has been that I came to California and became the executive director of the Fred Jordan Mission in downtown Los Angeles. I lived there, and I lived among the homeless for 3 years. So I know Skid Row for more than 30 years. But this year, I received a phone call from a reporter. It says, listen, we're looking for a girl. Her name is Carolina. and she's pregnant. She's been lost for 4 years. There's been a sighting of her in Skid Row. Could you do me a favor? I don't know Skid Row. Can you help us to find her? So, these are the times where you can't think twice. You either do it, jump, and make it happen. So that's what I did. I did this with a reporter, and we found her. We found her in the middle, next to
I
the...
want you to say that again.
Yeah. I found this girl.
You had no idea.
No idea.
You just started working and with the streets and looking for her.
That's right. And you have to be prepared, because if you find somebody, you can't just give them a little prayer and says, God will take care of you. You got to do something about it right there. Yep. So when we found her next to the railroad. This girl crossed the border with her boyfriend. And the boyfriend died on the border. As crossing, somebody else got hold of her, and eventually she was lost. Became really drug addict. She ended up in the streets, and she became pregnant, and she was 7 months pregnant. And when we found her, we had to right away get into the little, you see how many tents they have in Skid Row. So right there in the middle of a garbage pile of stuff, we found her. And right there I said, Carolina, your mother is live from El Salvador. Wants to say hello. You hasn't seen you for 4 years, and your daughter too. Are you ready for a change? So right away we connected with her mother. She was with another boyfriend, but we were able to rescue out of there and take her to a place, undisclosed place for people who have been trafficked. And we were able, together with a team of people, provide the support necessary to help her, provide her hope.
You did.
And that's the name of our organization that we handle. It's called Sperantia, which means hope in Latin. So we rescue her. We find her a place to live. She lost her baby, and she almost lost her life. So we eventually took her into a place so she could be rescued. Now she's doing well, serving the Lord, working. And you know how powerful it is for us and for a ministry like Bridge to do things, that it is just like you're in the right place at the right time.
Walter,
and that's what we did.
This is awesome. What unexpected hope for that young woman. And talk about resurrection from death. Thank you, Walter.
Thank you.
It's good to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Friends, you've heard some of these stories. God is at work. There's unexpected hope that just pops up. And I just want to summarize for you some of what's happened in Bridges. The impact that we're having is not just contained to these individual situations that you're hearing about. Over the past year, 46 Bridge leaders have made over 230 disciples. That's, 230 Olivias, 230 of this young woman who was on Skid Row, reaching out, bringing life and hope to people who really need it at the most difficult of times. And over the past 10 years that Bridges has been in existence, we've trained 129 leaders, 127 leaders like Mike and Sam and Walter, and they've made 1,470 disciples, and they've initiated 6,800 friendships. And in addition to that, out of that came 12 new Christ-following communities. There's 12 new churches. And we're 3 generations now. If when Mike is taking care of Olivia, and then Olivia starts caring for people in Liberia, you see, there's 1 generation to Olivia. Olivia's going to the 2nd generation. We're at 3 generations now in Bridges, because we want to multiply. We don't want to just add. We want the people that we disciple and mentor and help, they begin to disciple and mentor and help. You heard Olivia talk about her passion to give it away. It wasn't just, I'm so thankful for what's been given to me. It was she had a passion to say, no, now I want to go and I want to give it away. And that's at the heart of Bridges, that we're not just about helping people, we're about helping people who then help people, who help people, who help people. So God has been at work giving unexpected hope to hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people. But our vision is even bigger than this. Yes, we want to help a lot of people. But in our country today, we're going through a tremendous amount of change. And it's in every sphere. If you want to go buy something at a store today, that whole area of the economy has changed. It's a mix. There's some old-time stores and there's Amazon. And it's a mix. If you want to go see a movie today, there's some great movie theaters, but there's also all the different downloads, and it's a mix. And we're experiencing the same thing in the church today. We just went through a year of lockdowns, of we're not able to use our buildings. And more people are meeting online. What Bridges is doing is we're training leaders for a new type of church in America that's going to be a mix, that's going to have existing churches, but also all kinds of small groups gathering online and in homes, and it's going to be a mix. And so the leaders you've heard from today are leaders who don't take full-time salaries. These are ministries that don't have buildings, that don't have high cost, that are operating on very little funding. And as a result, they're able to do more in reaching out and more in caring for the poor. And so our vision is not just to train a few hundred leaders, but thousands of leaders. And so we want you to imagine with us a Bridges that supports thousands of leaders across America. And we want to invite you to imagine that, and imagine the good, and imagine the love, and imagine the hope that can make a difference in America. And I want to invite Steve now to come and help us consider how we might respond.
Oh, this is great. Boy, I've been inspired tonight. Mike Veerman's ministry with Olivia, just incredible inroads in that young woman's life. And then we heard from Sam Nutneris and his work with Afghan refugees, and incredible gifts of unexpected hope. And then Walter Contreras with his work with that one woman that he committed to go find with that news person, and God provided that unexpected hope to save this woman's life. It really wasn't easy. It was difficult. But these stories that you heard from Mike Veerman, and you heard from Sam Notneris, and you heard from Walter Contreras, this is what Bridges is about. And the vision that Jim Milley just shared with all of us is this is not a ministry that's finished. It's only beginning to have a vision to multiply disciples. So I want you to listen carefully, and I want you to trust that the Holy Spirit might be speaking to you tonight, because the margins are very thin in everything we're doing for a purpose, to keep God at work, but we need your support. So why give? I answered that question myself. Why give? You're going to hear a little bit more from me about that later on, but I give because I know that this ministry is outside the building walls. I've been pastoring 40 years in Presbyterian churches, and we're beginning, where I'm serving now, to begin to see ministry outside our walls. The bias for church buildings is to keep care of the people in the building. Bridges is all about people, not in the buildings. That's why I give. I want you to consider why you're going to give to Bridges. Why Bridges as opposed to any other nonprofit organization or other charitable giving? I think you need to weigh the impact of any not-for-profit, any church's ministry on how it is building disciples, reaching people where they are, not expecting people to come to their building. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about reaching people that are probably very marginalized in society right now. And Bridges is all about that. Why give to Bridges now? Because Bridges needs your support now. It needs my support now. Now, I'm getting ready to raise money for my church the end of this month. I'm going to still be doing my tithe. Jan and I will still tithe to our local congregation, but we're looking seriously of how Bridges will become another one of our offerings. And I want every one of you to think about how Bridges can be a part of you bringing unexpected hope to someone today by the way that you give. Why give more than you plan to give? Because God says God enjoys a cheerful giver. There you have it, motivation right there. All right, I want you to know that Janet and I are giving $500 tonight to Bridges. And I'm just telling you that because we have skin in the game. I'm asking you to have skin in the game. I want you to consider a subscription membership, a monthly subscription membership, and that will give you access to all the training videos. And I'm really excited about Bridges is in a $200,000 capital campaign. I love vision. I know there's some of our members right now online because we're heavily supporting Bridges that, yes, you can raise money for an operating budget and have a capital campaign. And I hope you're hearing that, my friends. God will always provide. So of the 200,000, we've already raised 23,000. That's good. Help us fill the $177,000 gap tonight. Why give? Because all of what I just talked about is going to fund unexpected hope. You're feeling it. God's putting the burden on your heart. So I'm leading with a $500 gift, and I want you to consider what you will give.
Hey, Norm.
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Great. Hey, Norm, tell everybody where you are.
So my name is Norm Gordon. I'm a bridge leader at Bridging in northwest suburbs of Washington, D.C. We have a group called Germantown Global Connection, and we teach people how to gather and serve and grow. And we have a very diverse group of families that are learning this in a very non-church context, and we call it Giving Them the Good Stuff. And we live in Germantown, Maryland, which is the third or fourth, depending on the year, most diverse city in the nation.
Okay, fantastic. So, Norm, we're about to watch a short video that highlights someone that is new in your ministry. And tell us how this person is connected to your ministry and why it's significant.
So during COVID, a woman in the community started to see the need for food for low-income families and began gathering people and resources to deliver 1,200 food to 1,200 families a week. And Christina got called by her faith, as you'll hear, to join her, and we began working side by side.
And I think you've been doing some mentoring with Christina?
So Christina, I could just see her heart for the Lord and her desire to live out that faith in terms of serving the needy families of Germantown. And I could see that she wanted to know how to do that more effectively. And so hearing her story, I thought, well, we can start by helping to tell her story to those in the community. And so we were able to videotape her story so that people could see the connection between her faith and the service that she's doing.
Right. So you see another leader in town who's doing well, and you get behind that leader. I mean, that's what Bridges does, is get behind leaders who you see potential in and try to help them out. And here, that's what you're doing with Christina. And it's possible that she might be interested in Bridges and could be one of the new leaders that we get behind this coming year. Is that true?
I can see the spark in her eye. I can see, part of being a bridge leader is being able to identify people who want to serve in the community and have that spirit to call others to our faithful God, but maybe just don't know how that works outside of the established church and need the tools to do that. So we're in dialogue with Christina
in how that's going to come about.
So we thought, as you think about the future of Bridges this coming year and think about giving, we wanted you to see this clip that Norm helped Christina create to talk about her ministry. So let's see it.
My name is Norm Gordon, and I'm a bridge leader in the northwest suburbs of Washington, D.C. And I have a group called the Germantown Global Connection, and we do three things. We gather, we serve, and we grow. So, for example, Christina was one of many young gals who was helping out at the local food distribution, unpacking large pallets of canned foods and produce and putting them into family-sized units that could be delivered to needy families during the coronavirus. And she found out about what I was doing, and she said, I really appreciate what you do, Norm. And I said, oh, great, well, what's your story? This is what she said.
I was living in Miami. I was bartending at this really great beachfront bar, just living a lifestyle that on the surface seemed glamorous and on social media seemed like a lot of fun, but it was a lifestyle that left me feeling drained and empty. In January 2020, an old friend of mine reached out to me and we began talking, and my friend was like, well, with this lifestyle you're living, what's your relationship like with Christ? And I said, that's a great question. It's a pretty long distance relationship. And so my friend bought me a Bible and sent it to me. When COVID hit, I lost my job in Miami and kind of didn't know what I was going to do. All my family was in Maryland, my mom, and I heard God speak to me very clearly, come back to Maryland. You need to move back to Maryland. As I was here the first month applying for jobs I felt like I was overqualified for, nothing was sticking. No one even called me in for an interview. God, I stepped out on faith. You told me to come back here. I thought you had a plan and purpose for me. And he spoke very clearly again and said, Christina, I didn't bring you back here for what you can do for yourself. I brought you back here for what you can do for others. Coincidentally, Black Rock Center of the Arts is less than 5 minutes from that apartment, the only apartment that happened to call me back. And I saw online that there were volunteer opportunities for the food distribution. Coming here every day, this became almost a full-time job. I came daily, packing boxes. It's really been transformative. It's very difficult to step out on faith when culture and society seems to want to pull you in one direction and the Lord is calling you to go in an opposite direction that just doesn't seem to make sense at the moment. But you have to trust. Working in this industry of constantly being out in the community and serving people, it keeps me connected. It keeps my faith strong. I am humbled by the fact that I am so grateful for everything I have because so many people do not have. And it's also a reminder to stick strong to my faith because at any time I can lose my job, I could lose my car and my apartment, and I could be the person on the other end. So to always treat people with kindness, carrying myself as Jesus would, and always loving my neighbor and loving the Lord and always trying to spread that within the community.
When you give to Bridges, you're allowing folks like me to train other people to learn how to gather folks together to help them serve in the community and to begin thinking about how their faith relates to that service. Thank you for your support.
Praise God for your presence with us here today. We praise God for the stories we've shared. We praise God for the hope that we felt in our heart. And we want to encourage you this coming week to spread that hope. We want to encourage you to invite others to our the wheel spin, to buy opportunity chances, to go to the silent auction. Let's spend this whole week ourselves in helping others to commit resources so that more people can experience the hope of God and the hope found in Jesus Christ. We're just delighted that you took your time today and spent it together with us. And we give thanks to God. May God bless you and keep you, and may his face shine upon you. May God lift up his countenance to you and give you peace. God bless you. Go in peace and serve the Lord. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.